Subscribe because it's free.
The Zaldar Intergalactic Legion trains its soldiers on a planet that'd make most species turn tail and run. Volcanic rock stretches for miles, black and sharp as a predator's teeth. The air stinks of sulfur, thick enough to choke anything without a filter. Above, a crimson sky glows, casting everything in a blood-red hue. This isn't a place for the weak. It's a forge for warriors, and the Legion prides itself on hammering recruits into something unbreakable. Every species in the galaxy sends their best here. Zrill with their clicking mandibles, Vethra drifting like living smoke, Torque gleaming with crystalline edges. They all come to prove themselves. And then there's Drill Sergeant Crixval. He's the one who decides if they're worth the Legion's time. Crixval isn't what you'd call gentle. Picture a reptile stretched to 8 feet, arms flexing with muscle, scales glinting like polished steel. His voice cuts through the ash-filled wind, a growl that rattles bones. He's broken recruits before breakfast and bragged about it by lunch. Right now, he's pacing in front of a fresh batch. A Zrill skitters nervously, its legs tapping the ground. A Vethra pulses, trying to look tough. A Torque stands rigid, reflecting the red sky on its facets. Crixval doesn't care. He's seen 100 like them. You're here to be forged or shattered, he snarls, tail lashing. Most of you won't last a week. His 6 eyes scan the line, daring them to flinch. Then a shuttle roars in, engines kicking up a storm of dust and ash. The ramp drops, and out steps something new. Cadet Reese. Human. The word ripples through the recruits like a bad joke. Humans are latecomers to the galaxy, barely a blip on the Legion's radar. No claws, no exoskeleton, no natural weapons. Just soft flesh and a single pair of lungs. Crixval stops pacing. He stares, then lets out a hiss that's half laugh, half threat. What's this? A snack for the course. The Zrill clicks in agreement. The Vethra hums mockingly. Reese doesn't react. Their voice comes out steady, quiet but clear. Reporting for training, sir. Crixval looms closer, towering over the human. You're a mistake, soft thing. You'll be pulp before the sun sets. The other recruits murmur. Humans are a mystery. Rumors say they're fragile, prone to breaking under pressure. Some claim they've got no business in a galaxy of warriors. Crixval doesn't bother hiding his contempt. He's trained elites from species with centuries of war in their blood. This human? A curiosity at best, a liability at worst. Reese stand there unfazed. What's the course? They ask like it's a casual question. Crixval grins, showing rows of jagged teeth. You want to know? Fine. I'll humor you before you fail. He turns, gesturing to horizon where the training ground sprawls. A nightmare of obstacles carved into the planet's crust. It's 10 kilometers of hell, Crixval says, voice dripping with pride. Lava pits that'll melt your bones. Zero gravity zones to rip you apart if you misstep. Sonic traps to scramble your brain. Every piece is designed to test you. Endurance, smarts, guts. The record's 4 hours, set by a Zrill who trained for decades. You! He jabs a claw at Reese. 10 minutes, and you'll be begging to quit. The recruits laugh, a mix of clicks and hums. Crixval's tail flicks, pleased with himself. He's seen it all. Arrogant rookies who think they're special, only to crawl back defeated. This human's no different. Just another name to scratch off the roster. Reese doesn't laugh, doesn't argue. They step forward, boots crunching on the obsidian ground. Can I see the map? They ask. Crixval blinks, all 6 eyes at once. It's not the question he expected. He tosses a hollow tablet at Reese's feet, smirking. Study it, soft thing. Won't help you. The tablet flickers to life, projecting a 3D layout of the course. Lava flows twist like rivers. Gravity wells pulse in midair. Sonic emitters blink in a deadly grid. It's a death trap, plain and simple. The kind of challenge that's ended careers before they started. Reese picks up the tablet, fingers tracing the glowing lines. The recruits watch, waiting for a crack in that calm exterior. It doesn't come. Crixval crosses 2 of his arms, impatient. Well, scared yet. Reese looks up, meeting his glare. Not that Crixval cares about eye contact from a species this low. No, sir, Reese says. Just figuring it out. The sergeant snorts. Figure all you want. You'll still fail. He turns to the others, barking orders to line up. The course is about to start, and he's already writing Reese off. Another weakling, another disappointment. The human's nothing special. That's what he tells himself as Reese keeps staring at the map, lips moving silently, like they're solving a puzzle no one else can see. The wind howls, carrying Ash across the training ground. Crixval shouts to the recruits to move, his voice echoing off the cliffs. The Zrill scampers forward. The Vethra drifts. The Torque lumbers. Reese stays put for a moment longer, then hands the tablet back. "Thanks," they say, and there's something in their tone. Quiet, steady, almost amused. Crixval ignores it. He's got a bet running in his head. 10 minutes, tops, before this human's done. "Get moving, Softing," he growls. Reese nods, stepping toward the starting line. "Let's get started," they say, and the words hang in the air, simple but heavy. Crixval watches them go, already picturing the failure. He's wrong. He just doesn't know it yet. The course kicks off with blasts of heat that'd cook most species alive. Lava pits stretch out ahead. A field of molten red crisscrossed by bridges so narrow, they look like threads. The Zrill recruit goes first, skittering across with its 6 legs, fast and precise. Crixval nods, impressed but not surprised. Zrill are built for this. Then the Torque steps up, its crystalline bulk too heavy. The bridge cracks, and it barely scrambles back before the lava swallows the path. Crixval laughs, a harsh rasp. "Pathetic," he shouts. The Vethra floats over, smug and untouchable. All eyes turn to Reese. The humans stand at the edge, staring down at the bubbling death below. Crixval's tail flicks. "Move, Softing, or melt we stand." Reese doesn't rush. They crouch, watching the wind whip Ash across the pits. It's not random. There's a pattern, a rhythm to how it gusts. Crixval growls, impatient, but Reese waits. Then, in one fluid burst, they sprint. The bridge groans, chunks breaking off under their boots. The wind shifts, pushing heat away for a split second, and Reese times each step to match it. They hit the other side as the last piece of the bridge collapses into the lava, a plume of steam hissing up behind them. The Zrill clicks in shock. The Vethra pulses. Crixval's growl cuts off mid-breath, his scales clicking as he shifts. "Luck," he mutters. That's all it was. Next comes a zero-gravity maze, a tangle of platforms spinning in a void. The Vethra glides through, its gaseous form unbothered by the lack of footing. The Zrill leaps from one to the next, nimble but cautious. The Torque tries and fails, crashing into a platform that spins it off into the dark. Crixval doesn't bother hiding his sneer. Useless lump. Reese steps up, boots lifting off as gravity drops away. They flail at first, tumbling head over heels, arms pinwheeling. Crixval laughs again, louder this time. Look at it. No grace, no skill. The recruits join in, a chorus of alien sounds. Clicks, hums, a low rumble from the Torque still drifting out there. But Reese doesn't panic. They spot a cable dangling from a broken platform, snapped loose by the Torque's mess. Grabbing it, they twist their body, using the momentum to swing. It's messy, reckless, but it works. They lasso the cable around a spinning edge and pull, launching themselves like a slingshot through the maze. Platform to platform, they swing and kick, turning chaos into progress. The Vethra stops humming. The Zrill's mandibles freeze mid-click. Crixval's tail goes still, his eyes narrowing. Reese lands on the far side, breathing hard but steady. "What was that?" the Zrill whispers. Crixval doesn't answer. He's watching the timer. 15 minutes in. Too fast. Too good. The course doesn't let up. Sonic traps come next, a grid of emitters blasting waves that shatter eardrums and scramble thoughts. The Zrill darts through, weaving between pulses with its quick reflexes. The Vethra disperses, letting the sound pass through its formless body. The Torque, back on solid ground, powers ahead, its crystal shell cracking under the noise but holding. Reese stops short, hands over their ears as the first wave hits. Crixval leans forward, eager for the collapse. No armor, no tricks. Let's see you break. Human. The sound's brutal, a high-pitched scream mixed with a low thrum that shakes the ground. Reese staggers, teeth gritted, but doesn't fall. They drop to a knee, scanning the wreckage around them. Bits of metal, shards from the Torque's shell, a chunk of bridge. Grabbing the debris, Reese jams it together, bending and twisting until it's a crude shield. It's not pretty, but when they hold it up, the sonic waves bounce off, muted just enough to think straight. Step by step, they push through, shield raised, boots crunching ash. The emitters wail, but Reese keeps moving, slow and stubborn. The Zrill stares. The Vethra condenses, watching. Crixvol's claws dig into ground. His is barely audible. Impossible, he mutters. The timer ticks past 30 minutes. Half the course done. Reese shouldn't be here. Not this fast. Not alive. The recruits are falling behind now. The Zrill's panting, legs trembling. The Vethra's thinning, stretched too far. The Torque's limping, cracks spiderwebbing its body. Reese doesn't stop. They toss the shield aside as the traps fade, shaking off the ringing in their ears. Crixvol paces, for arms flexing like he wants to strangle something. It's a fluke, he tells himself. Dumb luck and desperation. But his voice wavers. He's seen warriors, real ones, with claws and shells and centuries of instinct. This human's nothing like them. No natural gifts, no training to match the Legion's best. Yet here they are, halfway through a course that's crushed better. Reese pauses, chest heaving, sweat mixing with ash on their skin. They glance back, not at Crixvol, not at the recruits, just at the course itself. Keep going, they mutter, more to themselves than anyone else. The words are quiet, but they carry. Crixvol hears them, and his tail twitches, a nervous tick he'd never admit to. The human's not breaking, not begging, not even slowing down much. 30 minutes, and they're still in it. The sergeant's bet's looking shaky. He shakes his head, forcing a growl. You'll fail soon enough, soft thing. Reese doesn't reply. They turn forward, eyes on the next stretch. The course isn't done with them yet. Neither's Crixvol, but something's shifting and he feels it. The final stretch of the course is a beast, even by Legion standards. It's a gauntlet. Electrified walls sparking with blue arcs, gravity shifting like a drunk planet, and a simulated ambush with drones firing energy blasts. The Zrill's already out, collapsed somewhere back at the sonic traps. The Vethra's fading, its form too thin to keep going. The Torque stumbles on, cracked but stubborn, until a gravity flip slams into a wall. Crixvol doesn't spare them a glance. His eyes, 6 glowing slits, are locked on Reese. The human's at 50 minutes, soaked in sweat and ash, but still moving. Give up, soft thing, he roars. Reese doesn't. They duck a blast, roll under a sparking wall, and keep pushing. The drones swarm in, a dozen of them, red lights blinking as they lock on. Their shots burn the ground, leaving smoking craters. Reese grabs a broken pole from the wreckage, snapped off some earlier obstacle, and swings it like a bat. One drone goes down, sparking and spinning into a wall. Another fires, grazing their arm, but Reese doesn't flinch. They vault over a chasm, using the pole to clear the gap, landing hard on the other side. The gravity flips, pulling sideways, and they brace against a rock, muscle straining. Crixvol's tail lashes. No way, he mutters. No damn way. The timer's at 55 minutes. The finish line's close. A tight tunnel comes next, walls crackling with electricity. The drones can't follow, but the space is a death trap. Too narrow, too charged. Reese drops to their stomach, crawling through, pole dragging behind. Sparks snap at their back, singeing cloth, but they grit their teeth and shove forward. The air's thick, humming with power, and every inch feels like a fight. The Torque watches from a distance, its cracked shell reflecting the flashes. The Vethra's gone, dissipated somewhere. Crixvol's pacing now, claws flexing. He's shouting something, insults, threats, but the words blur into noise. Reese emerges, scorched but alive, and staggers to their feet. The last hurdle's a straight run, gravity normal but drones back in play. Reese sprints, pole in hand, weaving through blasts. One clips their leg, and they stumble, but momentum carries them. They swing the pole again, smashing another drone, then hurl it at a third. It's chaos. Explosion smoke, the screech of metal. The finish line's a glowing marker, 10 meters out. 5, 2. The timer hits 58 minutes as Reese crosses, collapsing to their knees, chest heaving. The drones power down. The course goes silent. Crixval stops dead mid-step, his growl choking off like someone yanked the air from his lungs. He stares. 6 eyes, unblinking, fixed on a human sprawled in the ash. The timer blinks, 1 hour flat. For hours was the record. 4 hours by a Zrill warrior who trained its whole life. Reese did it in 60 minutes. Crixval's tail hangs limp. His arms drop. The recruits limp closer, Torque dragging itself, Zrill hobbling, Vethra barely a wisp. They're muttering, clicking, humming, a mix of disbelief and something else. Fear, maybe. Respect. Reese pushes up, wiping ash from their face, and looks at Crixval. "What's next?" they ask, voice rough but steady. The sergeant opens his mouth. Nothing comes out. For the first time in decades, he's got no words. The silence stretches, heavy as the planet's air. Crixval's scales click as he shifts, trying to process it. He's broken recruits, buried failures, laughed at the weak. This human, this soft, clawless thing, just ran his course like it was a game. The Zrill clicks again, louder, a question in its tone. The Torque rumbles, low and awed. The Vethra pulses, condensing to stare. Reese stands there, breathing hard, waiting. Crixval finally speaks, voice cracking. You finished." It's not a shout, not a snarl, just a statement, flat and stunned. Reese nods. "Yeah, so what's next?" He blinks, all 6 eyes, like he's waking up from a bad dream. Footsteps crunch behind them. Officers in the command tower. Tall, sleek Zaldar in silver armor. Step out, hollow screens flickering in their hands. They've been watching. The run's already replaying. Reese's every move projected in glowing light. The lava sprint, the cable swing, the shield, the pole. 1 hour. The officers don't speak, just watch, their mandibles twitching. Crixval turns, sees them, and his tail twitches again. He knows what this means. The human's not just a fluke anymore. The screen spread, recruits, officers, even maintenance drones stop to look. The story's out. 1 hour. A human. Impossible. Crixval steps closer, looming over Reese. He's got his voice back now, but it's different. Quieter, sharper. "I misjudged your kind," he says. It's not an apology, not quite, but it's close. His claws flex, then relax. Didn't think soft could be strong. Reese shrugs, still catching their breath. Most don't. The words hit harder than they should. Crixval steps back, tail curling. The officers murmur, screens flashing faster. The recruits gather, staring at Reese like there's something new, something dangerous. The timer's still blinking. 1 hour. The course is quiet now, but the air's electric. Reese stands, dusts off, and waits. The Legion's watching. Crixval's watching. And for once, he's got nothing left to say. Reese's run doesn't just end at the finish line. The Legion's a machine, and machines adapt when something breaks the gears. The officers waste no time. Within days, they're tearing apart the course data. Every step, every trick Reese pulled. The lava sprint gets a new wind simulator. The zero-gravity maze adds tighter turns. The sonic traps double their output. Crixval's in the thick of it, barking orders at engineers, his scales glinting with sweat. "Make it harder," he growls. Those insane primates won't breeze through again. But there's an edge to his voice now, not just anger, but something grudging, like he's starting to get it. The course isn't the same anymore. Neither's the Legion. They drag Reese into it, too. Not as a cadet, not quite, but as something else, a living lesson. Recruits line up, Zrill and Torque and Vethra, watching as Reese shows them how to turn junk into tools. A cable's not just a cable, it's a lifeline. A pole's a weapon, if you swing it right. Crixval looms nearby, arms crossed, tail flicking. "Improvise," Reese tells him, voice calm. "Think past what you're built for." The Zrill clicks, confused. The Vethra hums, skeptical. The Torque tries it, smashing a rock with a stick, and grins when it works. Crixval mutters under his breath. Chaos. Pure chaos. But he doesn't stop them. He's learning, too. Reese doesn't bask in it. They're not here for glory. Back at the barracks, they slump onto a bunk, boots still caked with ash. Could use a nap, they say to no one, a dry laugh in their throat. The other recruits over here, baffled. Zrill don't sleep, they molt. Vethra don't rest. They recharge in gas clouds. Torque just stand there, eternal as stone. A nap? After that, Reese stretches, ignoring the stares. Push hard, rest hard. They mutter. It's not a speech, not a motto, just how they work. The aliens don't get it, but they feel it. That stubborn, simple drive. It's what got Reese through. It's what's changing everything. Word spreads fast. The Legion's a galaxy-wide outfit, and gossip travels at light speed. Holos of the Run pop up on every base, every ship. 1 hour. A human. Officers in distant sectors replay it, mandibles clicking. Recruits whisper about it over rations. Crixval's name's tied to it now, whether he likes it or not. He's the one who let the soft thing through. He's the one who saw it first. Years later, he retires, scales duller, voice quieter. That damn human, he'll say, tail twitching, when anyone asks, ruin my course. Ruin me. But there's a glint in his eyes when he says it. Pride, maybe, or just exhaustion. Humans don't stop coming after that. The Legion's gates creak open wider, and they pour in loud, messy, unbreakable. Each one's different, but they've all got that spark Reese showed. One turns a busted drone into a shield. Another runs the course backward, just to prove a point. Crixval's successors tear their scales out trying to keep up. The old rules don't fit anymore. Endurance isn't just armor. Smarts aren't just instinct. Humans bring chaos, sure, but it's the kind that wins wars. The galaxy notices. Zaldar commanders start asking for human squads. Give us the soft ones, they say. They don't break. Reese stays on, not as a legend. Legends are for statues, and they'd rather move than stand still. They train, they run, they nap when they can. The new recruits watch them, some in awe, some in fear. How do you do it? Azriel asks once, mandibles trembling. Reese shrugs, kept going. That's all. It's not an answer, not really, but it sticks. The Zrill tries harder next day. The Vethra experiments with solidifying. The Torque swings a pole instead of charging blind. Reese doesn't lead by shouting. They just do, and the rest follow. The planet's still a hellhole, lava, ash, red sky, but it feels different now. The course isn't just a grinder anymore. It's a proving ground, and humans keep proving something Crixval never saw coming. He's gone by the time the Legion's slogan shifts. It's unofficial at first, muttered between recruits, then carved into a wall. Fear the soft ones, they endure. No one knows who started it, but it fits. Reese hears it once, years later, and laughs. Soft, huh? Guess that's us. They don't care about the words. They care about the next run, the next fight. The galaxy keeps turning. Wars flare, alliances shift, and the Legion grows. Humans carve their spot, not with claws or shells, but with that same stubborn spark. Crixval's long retired, telling stories to anyone who'll listen. 1 hour, he'll say, voice rough. 1 damn hour. He doesn't mention the freeze, the moment he lost his words. He doesn't have to. The story does it for him. Reese is out there still, somewhere, running courses, breaking records, napping when they can. The soft ones endure. And the galaxy is starting to figure out what that means.